All the Haitian migrants huddled under the Del Rio, Texas bridge are now gone. For 1 week, the makeshift encampment housed at least 15,000 Haitians. Many of those refugees were sent back to Haiti, and thousands more were bused to other U.S. cities to be processed by Border Patrol. Today, President Biden spoke about the treatment of some of those Haitians by mounted officers. Images of whips being used earlier this week, sparking outrage.
It was horrible to see, as you saw. To see people treated like they did, horses barely running them over, people being strapped, it's outrageous. I promise you those people will pay. They will be, an investigation underway now, and there will be consequences. There will be consequences. It's an embarrassment, but it's beyond an embarrassment. It's dangerous. It's wrong. It sends the wrong message around the world. It sends the wrong message at home. It's simply not who we are.
But now what happens to those thousands of refugees who remain in the U.S.? James Pierre, a Haitian-born journalist, spent the day in Houston, where Haitian migrants are now being processed. James, always great to see you. What were your impressions about the conditions there?
Well, absolutely. First, I have to say that the Haitian community is very pleased by the latest statement made by President Biden, because that's what the community always wanted to hear. Not only condemn the whipping of the U.S. Border Patrol, but also actions being taken to treat the Haitian migrants with dignity. If the Haitian migrants are no longer in Del Rio, they are here in Houston at a center called the Family Reunification Center, where they've been processed for political asylum. Hundreds of them are being processed on a daily basis, where they have to fill out some forms before they have an opportunity to be reunited with their family. The next step now is purchasing tickets for those Haitians to find their family members in Miami, different states of the United States that they are being processed. Some of the Haitians are unfortunately tested positive for COVID. Few of them, I've been told 5 or 6. They've been in quarantine for now, but most of the Haitians are now on the way back to their family members in the United States. However, we are also receiving numbers from the Haitian authorities that more than 2,000 Haitians have been deported back to Haiti because they are not qualified for political asylum.
And what is the situation on the ground in Haiti and Port-au-Prince at the airport as they all stream back in?
It's chaotic. Most of these Haitians were not pleased to go back to Haiti. Some of them say that they didn't even know that they were going back to Haiti. U.S. Border Patrol told them that, hey, we're going to take you to another state. So they freely entered the plane, and then now they realize that they are in Haiti. Some of them cried, and some of them are very furious about the Haitian government only offering them 300 goods. If you convert that into US dollar, it's less than $20 to say, okay, get back with your life, although you're being deported. They don't think it's enough as the support to get back to Haiti.
And just the sheer number is pretty astounding. What are they telling you about why they're coming, and what made them think this would be successful? Is it because of the TPS status? Why are they coming? Do you think the U.S. government also underestimated how many people would come?
Well, most of the people that I talked to, for example, I spoke with Betsaida, a little girl, 6, 7 years old, told me that she spent about 3 months on the road, to be in the United States from Chile, Brazil, and other countries, about 7 countries to be in the United States. Most of them just say that they want a better life. They just want to live life, and they just want to be freely moving. But unfortunately, we can realize how difficult and dangerous it is to take the road like that to be in the United States, but they are not expecting to be deported. And I don't think the U.S. government was expecting a large number of Haitians to be at the Mexican border and the Mexican and Texas border so early after the assassination of President Jovenel Moise.
Yeah, there's so much happening right now in Haiti, so many crises just compounding one after the other. And we hear about these trips even just from Mexico and how dangerous and difficult it is. And when you think about 7, 8 countries in some cases, it's hard to imagine they made it at all in some cases. Most Haitians in the U.S. live in Florida, where you live. That's also a place where a lot of Cuban refugees came with that so-called wet foot, dry foot policy that ended during the Obama administration. What do you think the difference is here?
Well, many Haitian Americans are talking about that, and they are also talking about the treatment that the United States is giving to the Afghan migrants compared to the Haitian migrants. The Haitians were being chasing by U.S. Border Patrol, whipping them and say, go back to where you're from. You are not welcoming here. However, the Cubans in Miami, as you mentioned, were welcoming. As long as you touch the land, you are welcome here for political asylum. The same for Afghans. We have special visa for them. But with the Haitian community, it's a different story. And many think that it's a double standard, how the U.S. immigration and also the U.S. administration is really treating the Haitians.
And the Biden administration is getting hammered from all sides here. UNICEF says more than 2/3 of those deported are women and children. And then on the other side, conservatives say he's letting too many Haitians stay, that the situation is out of control. What do you think? How do you think this plays out?
Absolutely. And on top of it, I spoke earlier with the president of the NAACP, James Dixon, saying that the way the U.S. is treated the Haitian migrants is the same as Black Lives Matter movement. They are treating them less than animal, and they are asking the Biden administration to step up and make sure that at least we treat the Haitian migrants with dignity. And many are still furious about what will come next. The president of NAACP also talked about the Vice President Kamala Harris, who was raising voice saying that we are a champion of the migrants, but now they are not happy about how she's handling the case as well.
And quickly, you're following their journey, you're following their path. At one point, there were 15,000 people under the bridge in Del Rio. Apparently, they've now all been cleared. Where are they all?
Where are they? Some of them return back to Mexico, where we will follow the story to see, is there any life after Del Rio? Some of them being deported, more than 2,000 now being deported in Haiti, and very few, 100 grant political asylum. And we also know that now the U.S. immigration are taking extreme measure to protect the Del Rio River, to make sure that that doesn't happen anymore. We'll keep following the story, but for sure, many of them return back to Mexico, wait for another opportunity if it's possible.
James Pierre, thank you so much. Always great reporting. Thank you.